Want an edge for betting the Super Bowl? Click the link in the description to download VSiN's free betting guide. Back here on the Lombardi Line, live from Media Row, we've got a special guest on set with us, the legend,
very special.
the Mad
My
Dog
man.
Russo.
Stormy, nice to see you. How you doing?
Nice to see you. Appreciate
my
you.
buddy, Mr. Lombardi over here, Michael.
Yes, it's so good to have you. Yes, it is. And I want to start off with, how many of these have you been to?
1990. First
Wow.
one. San Francisco and the Broncos. I'll tell you a story about that. You ready
Please,
for that?
I'm ready for it.
So there was no radio stations there. Mike and me in the Hyatt lobby in New Orleans. You know, Eddie Edelman from EEI was there, and I think Eskin was there in the local radio. So there was nobody there, no radio row, nothing. So during the week, first part of the week, we have Summerall and Madden on. That was a CBS game.
Right.
So we have Summerall and Madden on, and, you know, they do their thing, and, you know, they both of them together. It was probably Tuesday, and Madden tells me and Mike when he's leaving, says, hey, guys, come to my hotel one day this week. I got to show you some stuff. So whatever day that was, you know, he had a little boutique hotel on Bourbon Street.
Right.
So we get in the car, probably the next day, we got there in the morning, go up to his room. He's got the big telestrator up, his little hotel, his big hotel room there. It's probably a suite. And he says, let me show you this. So he takes the video out, camera. Rice does this, Taylor does that. They can't do this. Montana, look at this offensive line. They can't guard. He said, guys, you didn't hear me say this? Denver does not have a chance in this game. This is a disaster written all over it. 55-10 San Francisco.
Wow.
No, you didn't finish the story, though. You did not finish the story. Where did you go to bet that game at that point?
I didn't bet it then.
I don't know
can't
why.
believe
that.
No, I didn't. I didn't start the betting until later. I didn't bet that game. Now, I did fly home on Sunday. I didn't stay for the game, and I flew home with Sam Weish. New Orleans, Cincinnati, New York, and I watched the game in New York, and it was over, 20 minutes into the game at 55-10. That was their second of the two, and then the Giants the next year win the three-peat game.
Right.
And that's the fumble by Craig and Burt Eric Howard recovered it, and then, of course, Barr kicked the field goal.
And that's when Belichick got the Patriot job, the Browns job. That's after that game, after that Super Bowl.
And George Young always used to tell me, Mike, that under any circumstances, he was never hiring Belichick as his head coach because he didn't like Belichick.
Right.
Thought he was a great coach, hated him as a person.
Right.
And he told me 20 times in that 89-90 period, I am not hiring Belichick. And as it turns out, now Bill left in May,
and they
which
hired
put
Ray
him in a
Hanley.
tough spot. And George said, hey, don't kill me on Hanley. Bill loved Hanley, too. They all thought Hanley was going to be a good coach.
Right, yeah. We don't even know
he was there 2 years.
We don't even know where Ray Hanley is. He
was in Vegas.
Yeah, he was living in Vegas, yeah.
Now, remember, Bill put him in a tough spot because they had a quarterback controversy.
Right.
Because Phil was 10-1, broke his ankle. They brought Hostetler in, and Hostetler won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill leaves in May. Hanley comes in. He's got two quarterbacks who both want to play, and both have won Super Bowls.
Yep.
That's a very tricky spot.
And the team was getting older.
They were getting older.
Yeah, the team was. That was their run.
Where do you sit on Bill not having a job this cycle?
I'm surprised. I really am, and I should ask Mike with the story here about Blank. You saw that with Boomer Esiason yesterday. Do you think Blank offered him the job and he said no?
I think Blank wanted to hire him. And I think it was his job all along. And I truly believe that from the time he left the yacht down in the islands on Blank's yacht till he went back to Atlanta to meet everybody, that the front office and everybody from Rich McKay to Terry Fontenot kind of convinced Blank to change his mind.
All right.
I believe part of what Boomer's saying is that Blank wanted to hire him. I think Blank really wanted to hire him.
But you don't think Bill turned him down?
I don't think it was a turn down. I think what happened was the momentum was built because they all were saying, well, we won't have a collaborative effort. Nobody will listen to us.
Yeah.
And he would have changed the way. See, everybody thinks he was going to change the way of with power and all this. But there's some things that he would want to do, like in contracts. They had no contracts that had off-season workout bonuses. And that's big for Belichick. He wants the players in the program in the offseason to work out.
And they had no bonus clauses in their contract.
They had none of that. So now that means they got to change how they do contracts. People hate change.
I got you. So there was a combination of things. But I am surprised. I do think Belichick will coach again. I don't think Pete Carroll will. But I do think Pete, and I did Nashville radio yesterday, and they said it's 50-50 in Nashville on Vrabel, and they said a big knock on Vrabel in Nashville, and you're a Vrabel fan, is the offensive coordinators he hired were terrible.
And that's always been a problem with them. And, and they've been able to overcome it. They beat Baltimore in the playoff. They've been, I think it's a little unfair on this. they've been stuck with Henry, and they got to run. If you're going to go with Henry, you got to go with that offense. And so he kind of traps you into thinking what you're going to do. I think Vrabel will rise again.
No,
I
think so too. I think both him and Belichick will coach again. I don't know about Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about him, but I think the other two will. I know Belichick is 73 years old, but somebody will make a run out of next year wanting to win quickly. That would be my take on that.
I think age, as you get older, you get better at what you do.
Fair too. So I do think he'll coach.
So because you are a betting man, I have to know, obviously you guys go at it every single week on the radio against each other, but like Michael always comes on our show saying, I don't know where Mad Dog's getting these numbers at. So you must be the sharpest bettor of all time, according to Michael, in these numbers.
He gets annoyed with the lines, and he wants those lines operated very, very carefully. And he's annoyed also, and we gave him one because Seattle early in the year, he took Seattle against San Francisco, and then Geno got hurt
that day.
And he bet, and he picked
I remember talking about this.
And he was annoyed, so, because he made the pick at 5, then he finds out later that it's not Geno.
I never would have done that if Geno said
I would have done the same for him. I would have felt the same way for him. There was one time he was going to make a bet, and I said, no, you can't do that. That line's completely different, and he backed off of it. So I want it fair, and look, I won the contest without that game anyway.
Barely. He did. He won by half a game. Now, remember, in real life, if I make the play on a Friday afternoon thinking Geno's going to play, and then 4 hours later I find out he's not going to play, they're not going to give me the bet back.
No, but I can go to the table and make another bet to offset that play. See, that's what you can do.
I guess you're right.
You can do that.
So are you getting a mysterious 3 on Kansas City this week?
No,
you think?
it's too late for him to get the 3.
Was there a mysterious 3 going on?
Well, we have people on our network that take the Chiefs and 3 points, and I can't find the 3 points anywhere. I can't find 3 points.
I do love the Chiefs to win the game.
I know you've been all over this Mahomes thing, and you said it last week.
He's not losing a Purdy. I'm sorry. No way.
I remember last year you saying you were Chiefs out. So how do you feel now?
Well, I've been betting them lately, so
I feel better.
You feel better about it.
I bet him against Buffalo, and I was fortunate. And I bet him against Lamar because I don't trust him in a big game, and I was fortunate with that too. You know me. You've been on him. Now let me ask you this. I'm worried about him in a big game.
Let me ask you this. You're a historian. Like, where would you put Mahomes if he wins this one?
I think Mahomes is. You've heard me all week. I think he's the best quarterback I've ever seen. Now, see, to me, it's 2 different arguments. That's just a point of where he is. Like Sandy Koufax is the best pitcher of all time at his peak, but he didn't do it long enough, so you can't say he's the best pitcher.
You would take Koufax over Gibson?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Koufax was absolutely.
So you have like different categories, like best winner, best skill, best.
I mean, there's a little. I had Laver and Roy Emerson tell me many a time that the best player pound for pound in tennis they ever faced was Lou Hode.
Really?
But nobody would say Lou Holt's the best player of all time. Same thing with Mahomes. I think, to me, if I had a game to win for my life, I would take Mahomes. But I can't say he's the best of all time necessarily because he's got 2 Super Bowls and Brady's got 7. Montana's got 4. But I mean, listen, I've never, outside of the second half against Cincinnati, when he did not play well.
Right.
He was the reason they lost that game.
Correct.
Outside of that game, and I give him a break against Tampa in the Super Bowl. Andy did a terrible job with the offensive line. I think he was all fouled up with his kid with the car accident.
Exactly was, correct.
So I think he lost a little focus, and Tampa took advantage. So I'm going to give Mahomes a break. I don't think I've ever seen Mahomes at 14-3 have a bad playoff game. So I'm going to bet him on Sunday.
He scored 21 points in the last Super Bowl. He threw 2 interceptions in that last Super Bowl against the Niners, and then he just had the great fourth quarter.
He had a great fourth, and Richard Sherman on 3rd and 15. He had that play to Tyreek Hill. Listen, part of me thinks the Niners are due. They lost to him in 19. They could have won. Shanahan's been at this point a lot in his career, so eventually he'll break through, so I can understand that. And they're going to hear about how everybody thinks that Kansas City and haven't played that well. Here's the thing I was worried about the Niners, though. The Niners told everybody after the Green Bay game, we know we played lousy. We'll play better the next game. Mm-hmm. Oh, they made McCaffrey. We stunk. We'll play better. And they stunk against Green Bay, too. They shouldn't have beaten the Green Bay. They shouldn't have Detroit. Shouldn't have won the game.
No, that's right.
I can't take them seriously.
Well, and Michael, you've said all week long that they haven't even played their B game yet.
Yeah, they haven't played a good game yet. I mean, they're here, and they haven't played their best game. Not even close to their best game.
And they didn't play well late in the year.
No,
Ravens,
they haven't. They haven't played well.
The Rams, I know the game didn't mean anything. They lost to them, too. So I will take the Chiefs. I trust the Chiefs.
He's got his 60-point play. He's going to take the Chiefs in the 2 points.
I'm going to take them.
We've only got 30 seconds left, but I am very curious. Like, how do you take care of your voice for all of the yelling at Stephen A. and Michael that you do?
I haven't had. I've had it twice. where I had laryngitis and I couldn't talk for a week. It drove me crazy. I had it once at
His
FAN.
wife was the happiest she'd ever been in her life.
That's exactly right. I had it twice, and I haven't had it since. My voice has stood up pretty good. And I got him every Friday, and he's the best here, so I have a lot of laughs from Mr. Lombardi.
So great. Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, High Heat on MLB Network, First Take on ESPN, the legend himself. Thank you so much for the time.
You got it. Stormy, thank you. We love you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you,
See
my man. Friday.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.